Okay. The Logan Paul video that he got from Chuck Clark. He went there. If you don't know the story, James Fox told this story. I guess James Fox had seen this video that Chuck Clark showed him years and years and years ago. And he described it. He described it on Rogan. He described it a bunch of different times. And he also talked about how Logan Paul went out there to offer Chuck Clark, I forget what it was, about how much money it was, but it was a lot, to have the footage. And Chuck Clark told him no. But what he did was record it with his phone when he had the footage. And then Chuck Clark basically said, you know, because the news came out that he did it and everything, Chuck Clark said, if you show that video, you're going to have a lawsuit. And I'm gonna sue you because it's mine. Well, I don't know what happened with that lawsuit because we kept wondering if Logan Paul was going to ever show this. He finally did. The video footage was shown at Jesse Michels' show. Jesse Michels had Bob Lazar on, and Logan Paul wanted to show Bob Lazar the footage because it was similar to the stuff that Bob Lazar had talked about. So the following clip, and I want to thank our good buddy Pavel for posting this full clip here. It's a long clip. It's around 5 minutes. And it's from Jesse Michels' show. I really recommend you guys going over there and watching the full interview with Bob Lazar and this thing with Logan Paul. And this is the big part that everyone's talking about here. You know, having Bob Lazar in general is great. But this footage has been rumored forever, what we were going to see. So we'll talk about what is said afterwards. We'll talk about the either confirmation or denial, or whether people think it's real, or you know, Mick West's eventual balloon talk or whatever. So let's watch this footage. Let's see when Logan Paul's talking to Bob Lazar and Jesse Michels. Again, it's around 4 or 5 minutes of this clip that I want to show. And then when it's over, we'll talk about another side. Here it is.
I got to say, Bob, it is an honor to meet you, man. Absolute legend. What a privilege to talk to you.
Oh, thanks. Good to meet you.
I don't know if Jesse gave you any context to why I wanted to talk to you.
They have a bit, yeah, but maybe we'll rehash it.
Okay. So, Bob, check this out. I have in my possession UFO footage that has a story behind it that is compelling but not convincing. And I've been waiting to just do something with this footage or receive confirmation of sorts. And I see this particular orange disc sometimes in UFO videos and documentaries I'm watching. It pops up every now and then. But when I was watching the trailer for S4 that you guys released, about 80% of the way through the trailer, you guys show a disc that is at night, but then kind of coats itself in this orange.
Right. Yeah.
Okay?
That's right. Yeah.
Dude, I paused it there and I said, oh my God, that looks exactly like the footage that I have. So this footage, supposedly authentic, was taken by 2 college kids who wanted to go to Area 51 in the 90s, I believe it was 1995, and film their experience of trying to see if they could stumble upon a UFO or just alien activity of sorts.
Let's break this down. A couple of college-age guys drove out to the Black Mailbox, an infamous landmark entrance point to Area 51. It's along the road that leads to Groom Lake, extremely close to where Bob said he worked. It's nighttime. They're parked right in front of the fence surrounding the secret facility. The lights are off on their car, and they have a camera resting on the armrest, pointed through the front windshield.
And then it cuts to under the dashboard, and you see something very clearly illuminating like the top of the dashboard, and they're like hunkered underneath the car, and they're whispering to each other like, I think it's out there, like I don't know what it is, maybe we should go out. And they're like kind of scared.
Then something appears just beyond the glass. The craft is hovering extremely close to the car. It's orange and slightly wobbling or undulating in place as if it's on a wave. You can hear the 2 guys whispering.
It's out there. It's out there. Over there.
Yeah, that to me is exactly how it was described by Bob. It's exactly like you're handed. You're handed.
Yeah,
this.
it's moving the right way.
Yeah.
It's the right color and it's the right shape. So it makes it very compelling.
The intensity of the light. There's something very, very bright that is affecting that. The dash is being lit. It's the dash of the vehicle, and the craft is above it.
Right.
And look at the intent. Here's the dash, and look at the intensity of the light that's going to happen here. Right. There. Those are really.
Yeah, you can, and it's fading in and out.
Yeah,
so it's
you
moving
can't
up there.
fake that.
You can see that it wobbles exactly
But it wobbles.
like your
It
film.
wobbles. That's the important thing. Yeah. So it does comport with your video.
It wobbles. It glows like that in that color, in that shape.
That's wild, dude.
Yeah, I mean,
It's wild.
it's impressive. It is.
Okay, so not only do we finally see Logan Paul's video, we get Bob Lazar to take a look at it and say, this is the type of thing that I was talking about in general. So, first of all, it makes sense that Logan Paul would debut this on Jesse Michels' show. The family, his brother, they're tight with Jesse Michels. They've probably been talking about this for a bit to do it this particular way. They've probably been lining this up, and Logan Paul wanted to eventually show this, and this was a way to do that. I don't know the legalities and the other stuff with Chuck Clark. I have no idea. I don't know how that's going to work. I don't know. Having Bob Lazar there to me is, I think, helpful, right? Now, Bob Lazar has gone through a lot when it's come to the up and down on with the public. I look at him almost like a WWE wrestler, if you will. Like he's a babyface, heel, not to his own doing, but how the audience sees him. Because before, a lot of people were like, he's a liar, he's full of shit, blah, blah. Then once the hearings come out and other things, and he had tweeted out, and I told you. And Rogan says it all the time. So look, I'm not going to tell you 100% that the guy is telling the truth. What I'm going to tell you is that every single time I've talked to him or other people, his story never changes. He's continued to get more credibility from the community. There's tons, and I'm sure there'll be tons in here in the conversation here that are talking about how they don't believe Lazar and who cares what Lazar says and that type of thing. And that's fair. But I think that the reason for me that I go, okay, because Lazar was not doing interviews for quite a while, and then he started doing more. He went back on Rogan. He's doing Jesse Michels. He's doing these things. Maybe it's because there's more movement with, the president saying he was going to release information with UFOs and those things. Maybe that's the case. I don't know. But he's out there talking more, for sure. And so if Logan Paul just releases this randomly, as I said in the beginning, you're still going to get it. I'm sure Mick West has already talked about the orange balloon that was flying around in the sky that day, or why it was just a bunch of gas, whatever. Because the problem, again, with this footage is it's not incredibly clear. What I always envisioned, and no one told me to envision this is just the way I envisioned it, when James Fox told this story. James Fox, by the way, also confirmed that this was the footage that he saw with Chuck Clark back all those years ago when he told Logan Paul and that. So this is confirmed that this is indeed the same footage that he saw so many years ago. The problem, again, is the way that I envisioned this thing was that not to the HD, cameras that we have now. This was in the 90s. But I was envisioning like this is actually guys from their cars who just actually picked up the craft. It's still that kind of, orby light thing, not a clear shot still. And that is going to be the topic of the conversation, regardless of what any potential experts could say. Now, I do think that having Bob Lazar there saying, this to me seems credible, because if you believe Bob Lazar, and he's got tons of people who believe the stuff that he's talked about and the things that he has said he was a part of, if you believe him, then him saying, this to me seems intriguing, this to me seems credible, then the footage becomes more credible. Now, if you don't believe Bob Lazar in the first place and you just think, oh, it's just a bunch of lights or a balloon or whatever it may be, it's not really going to change your opinion. But it's intriguing footage. The way that they're posing it is that it seems pretty legit and doesn't seem staged. Doesn't seem like bad acting. Seems like people who are not supposed to be there recording and saying, oh, the camera's almost done. Oh, it's over there. It's over there. There's not too much there to it. I can't remember what the story was that James Fox said about these two guys, about why they gave it to Chuck Clark in the first place. I think they were just terrified of it, and I don't know how that came to be. I'm sure there'll be more confirmation on that, or you guys probably know that more. But the footage itself, and I think, again, there are stories that continuously happen in this community, and they happen every day. They happen every day. There's more stories. There's more things, and there's consistent stories that are happening all of the time, whether it's stories like this, where there's footage that has been held for a bit and now has been made public. And this goes back to that Matt Brown quote that I quote, I think, every video now, about how it's going to take, civilians releasing stuff and releasing footage to get conversation going, because this is stuff that, this was a recorded footage that this guy got from these two guys. Who knows if it was ever confiscated by the government, if the government ever had to hold it, who knows? But it's released out there in general. Now, I always hoped that if this footage was released, but kind of knew from hearing Logan Paul saying essentially what he did when he opened up the conversation with Bob Lazar, which was, I think, compelling, but nothing, it's not concrete. And he's kind of said that. There's nothing to make him go, oh, this is a definite ship or definite thing. I always kind of hoped from the initial conversation that James Fox had, I think, with Rogan, is that it was always like this kind of footage of these guys from the car, almost like Close Encounters, and then that was going to be it. That was going to be the video. But as time and time went on, and hearing Logan Paul talk about it was like, I think we're going to get more and more something like we saw. But I think the way that he did it and the way that he revealed it was the right way to do it. Through Jesse Michels, who has a lot of respect in the community, through Bob Lazar, who is polarizing, but someone who people absolutely listen to, and just in doing it where you're having a confirmation, because he never says this is it. I'm so sold on this. Like, what do you think? He's like, I saw your video, I saw that trailer, and to me it looked like something the thing that I have. So I'd love to get your thoughts on it. It's a good way to approach it. And with that, you got the approach, and they analyzed it, and they said, yeah, this does look legit. So looking back at it, again, you look at this. I mean, that's the problem is, if I show that to anybody, if I just sent this to someone randomly right now, right, and said, what do you think that is? Because of the lines in it and everything from the VHS and everything, people would do some kind of thing in space, or it's like something in space, or no one would know what that is. And, the balance of it, when it starts moving, of the flip-flop thing that they were doing, it makes a lot of sense. He said it was, kind of doing that wobbly thing that he saw it do, and that's why, and it was moving the same particular way. So while analyzing that video and looking at that video, it makes sense how they could think that. But I still am waiting for that video. That one video where somebody's got to have it. And it really is such a brilliant thing, these people that are holding these secrets, right? Because let's say there's so much footage, like there's actual footage that has been released on the internet already. Let's say it's the alien autopsy thing, or let's say all that is 100% real. You could literally post a real conversation that was had, if it happened yesterday, and there's a gray, and it's having a conversation with a government official, and it's legit. No one would think it was legit. And you could post it on Twitter all day long. You could freak out about it and go, oh my God, they got that footage. Nobody would believe it. I mean, some people believe it, but it for the most part, people go, oh, it's AI. It's, you know, it's sea dance or whatever. That's the power that AI also has for those people too. Because now everything can be looked at AI. How do you authenticate it and prove it on social media? Because you can post anything. Now let's say, well, that's AI, or it's not. You know, you could say it's not. Well, that is, you can make something. That's the thing. You make these videos, and I've seen some of these things. There was one that was created, and it looked kind of legit off a real picture, but it was done with AI, like the next extra like 15 seconds of it. So that has thrown things in disarray for sure. Now, I don't think what he showed was AI at all. I mean, not at all. But those videos, the more realistic ones, can be looked upon as that. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm not sure. What do you guys make of this footage? What do you think overall? Put your thoughts in there. Let me know. Make sure you click like, comment, subscribe. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Big story, though, today for sure. And I want to hear. So thanks for being here. I appreciate it. And we'll see you soon.